Hello, how are you doing, mate?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good. I was like, here he is, the beautiful boy. And you was like, what? I can't hear you.
I'm here now. I can hear you. This is great. This is great. Zoom.
Good.
You think after all of these years I would have worked out how to use Zoom already, right?
We're of that generation where we rely on technology and still can't use it.
100%. It's not the vibe. But what is a vibe? The new album.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there. I love that. I love that.
Cheeky little
Oh, now, do
segue.
you like it?
I am obsessed with it. I've been listening to it on repeat ever since it came out on Friday. The whole weekend I've just been cruising around in my car, absolutely blasting it.
Oh my God, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. It's mad that it's out. I was saying to the guys earlier, it's like it feels like I've leaked it. Because it's like you're with these songs for ages, and then all of a sudden people are telling you that they love I'll Be There and they love Cross Your Mind and they love Last Tears. And I'm like, wait, we haven't done like a full, because I've been releasing singles for the last year, so it's been mad to release an album again. So yeah, I'm just happy that everybody's enjoying it.
One thing that I did love was the announcement that you did because the album is called Bridges and you were standing in front of London Bridge.
Yeah, you see, just trying to be creative, trying to find new ways of saying it, Cam. Yeah, no, we did this beautiful piece that's coming out hopefully next week, which is like it's like a live stream from the Tower Bridge. So we
Amazing.
recorded this beautiful thing with drones and it's honestly it's stunning. So yeah, I'm looking forward to everybody to see that. Yeah.
And talk to me, you're going on a tour for bridges. Can we expect selfies of you in front of every bridge in every city that you're touring? Is this going to be a thing?
I mean, I'm just going to write that down because that's a great idea. No, I would love to do that. We've been discussing about how we can be really creative with this, but I think the most important thing was getting out a world tour, just getting it announced, getting in the venues. Because as you can imagine, every man and his dog want to go on tour this year. So we've secured the venues. It's out. I'm coming back to New Zealand in November. So I'm very much looking forward to that. If it's near a bridge, great. If it's not, I'm just happy to be back in New Zealand.
Well, to be honest, New Zealand, you can actually bungee jump off the harbour bridge. So we're over delivering in the theme of bridges with this.
That's how I should enter the stage, is bungee jumping from the bridge.
That would be next level. I just
Imagine.
bought my tickets and I'm so excited. I can't believe it's been 4 years since you were here last time.
It just doesn't, it's not fair, is it? 4 years. I mean, I remember when I was over there, 2018, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When I saw you, and it's been a long 4 years away from the business. But I can tell you that performing live at the minute, there is so much buzz and excitement for live shows again. It's just like everybody's fallen back in love with it. I've been lucky enough to be touring. I toured with the Script over in America. I've been doing stuff with Lost Frequencies for the summer festivals, and been doing all these TV performances. I was just doing at the Logies last night here in Australia. So I'm getting back into venues and performing, and it feels great. And I think everybody's so excited to enjoy that with us.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like it's an exciting time for artists to be back on stage. It must be such a wild buzz, but it's equally as exciting for the fans and the audiences that are coming along to shows. Like, I feel like people are just on a next level of excitement to be at a live show, surrounded by people, and you're all there for the same reason, loving music. So it's beautiful.
That's the thing, isn't it? Is that people work hard and they earn their money to be able to afford to do these things where, they want to see their favorite artist perform for an hour and forget about everything that's going on in the world. And I think, that's what artists have a duty to do, is to make sure that people go away thinking that was worth every penny. So that's what I'm looking forward to bringing with the world tour for Bridges, the Bridges World Tour. I think it's going to be a real journey. It's going to be emotional, shocker.
What, a Calum Scott song / show being emotional? I can't imagine it.
Yeah, I'm sure he said he was going into the rap business. But you know what? I think like the good thing is that like with this album, I have been really vulnerable, really honest. I've dug deeper, and so there's this new sense of like confidence and hope and strength, but also the vulnerability and the emotion. So it's like, it's a real journey, I think. So I'm excited to be bringing my band back, and I've got a whole new album's worth of music for you all.
I'm so freaking excited. And I want to talk to you about the creative process behind the album. Like I watched the little video in front of Tower Bridge where you were talking about the process for this album being quite different to Only Human. And I guess a lot of that would have to do with what's going on in your life and some of the themes that are coming through in the songs. But was there anything in particular that you felt was super different writing Bridges compared to Only Human?
I feel like the biggest difference was that I had more belief in myself on this second album, because the first album, like when we met, I was still like very much a deer caught in headlights, just like, oh, this is incredible. And I can't believe I get to do this. And, it was very much dream come true territory, which it still is. But I think when I was given the opportunity to write the second album, to write that, it was kind of like, all right, this isn't just a dream come true. Like this is, I'm an artist, and not that I didn't take it seriously before, but there's almost like a new sense of responsibility that I have on this album. And that sort of pushed me out of my comfort zone, which was tough to start with. But it, like I said, I just had to dig deeper and touch on things that were a little bit more personal, sort of more biographic. The title track Bridges, for example, is a much darker time in my life, but writing something like that really sort of pushed me and helped me become more confident. And I was like, all right, I believe myself a bit more now. Like I am an artist. I do deserve to be here. And, that sort of informed the rest of the writing on the album. So yeah, it was a difficult album to write for sure, but just a real delight, real delight to work on. And, the idea of performing these songs live is just like, I'm beaming. Yeah.
And I feel like it must be weird writing a second album because the first album, as you say, it's like a glossy new thing and it's a new opportunity for you as a person, as an artist. It's a very exciting time. With the second album, there would have been a bit of pressure because it's the second album and there's a certain level of expectation because your first album was so well received. But then I guess the confidence from having that first album being so great to then going into the second album, you must be like, well, I've done it. I've proved to myself that I can do it. So this time around, it's going to be good.
Yeah, well, I think that's what kind of made me just accept that, rather than me quizzing myself and, getting that, what is it when you feel like you're
like an imposter?
Like imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Like rather than giving into that all the time, I just was like, I've got to forget about the first album. I've got to wipe the slate clean and just do what I think is right for the second album. So yeah, and it's tough because you have your whole life worth experience to write the first and a year and a half to write the second. And then when people tell you, oh, the second album is the hardest to write, it doesn't help. But you just have to kind of put that out of your mind and just go, look, I can only give it what I can give it. Sort of live and die by the sword kind of mentality. That's why I sort of thought, like for example, like I say about Bridges, it was a really hard song to write, but I just looked at the way that the first album had resonated with people and I thought, well, I just have to be honest again because, look at what it's done for people. Look how, that music has soundtracked people's lives. Like I owe it to them to carry on writing music like that. So even though it was difficult to write it was an exciting prospect of getting back out there and being like, I wonder what this album will do. And you have to kind of put the first album out of your mind and just, do yourself the service of it, because if not, you're writing in the shadow of an album. And then that's, you're not letting the second album really have its own life. And so far it's been so well received everywhere that I'm just so very proud of it. I just hope it does what the first does, not in terms of numbers necessarily, I mean, that'd be lovely, but more, what it will do for people. Because all I want to do is help people. That's all I want to do.
And one thing that I love about you, you are very open and honest with your struggles in terms of coming to terms with your sexuality and your identity and all of that side of things. and it's something that when I was young wasn't really spoken about in music or media, but if there was something like that for me to hear or listen to, I would have felt a lot more comfortable. So the fact that that conversation is happening, I think, is one of the most important things ever. So thank you for your part in that. To somebody who may be listening right now, who is struggling themselves with that identity and wondering what it means, what is life, all of those questions that you ask yourself so often when you are growing up, do you have any advice? Was there anything when you were struggling that someone said to you that you were like, oh yeah, actually, that really helped me?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing, like you say, straight off the bat, is the fact that we're having this conversation and somebody who is struggling is listening to us talk about it. Hopefully, is the first part of that journey. I think the thing that I would say is, through my own experiences, I just know that it's a process, and you have to take your time with it. You have to, it's a process of discovery, and identity and sometimes bravery. So I think it takes a little bit of time. You've got to find out what it is you who you identify as, and what your sexual orientation is, and all these kind of things. But pressure doesn't make it better. You know what I mean? There's tons of organizations and charities out there that are doing such incredible work, which I've worked with before, to help. They're at the other end of the phone. Literally, if you rang up and said, I don't know how to deal with this is how I feel, there's somebody there that's qualified to be able to help have that conversation. And I think we're in such a great place at the minute with media, with pop music, with culture, with TV, film, where there's representation everywhere. I mean, I'm a massive Marvel fan, and we have our first openly gay character in Marvel. And it's like, it's exciting that everybody's taking note of that. And yeah, we do have a way to go, but I think this year we're celebrating 50 years of Pride in the UK. And it's like, where we were 50 years ago to where we are now, such massive strides that it excites me to think what we'll do in another 50 years.
Totally.
There's more love in this industry, in this community, than there ever has been before. And there's more representation, there's more understanding, there's more compassion. There are hurdles, but I think we're step by step, we're overcoming that. And what I will say to anybody who is struggling with their sexuality, that regardless of whether you act on it or don't act on it, the LGBTQIA plus community is so inclusive and so loving that there is a whole world of people who are right there waiting to accept you and to love you for who you are. And I think that's so important, because like you said, if I'd have had this growing up, I reckon I would have come out a lot earlier and I would have been more confident with it. And so This is why I have to contribute with my music. I have to be one of those people that, like you said, is there, supporting and singing these songs about, the struggle and the wanting to be accepted. And just because somebody might be listening to that in headphones and think, do you know what? That's really helped me. I'm going to go and tell my family, or I'm going to become, I feel better for hearing it. So yeah, I'm duty bound.
It's such a beautiful thing that you're doing, and it must have been such a full circle moment after all of those years of confusion and everything to be on the stage at Royal Albert Hall the other day, performing Pride Loud with a standing ovation. Like, that moment must have been absolutely mental.
Honestly, Cam, I wish you would have been there. My face was aching from the smiling that I was doing. It was unbelievable. I mean, talk about a dream within a dream, some sort of Inception kind of stuff going on there. But like, being able to stand on the Royal Albert Hall and do what I love, considering singing has been a dream, singing at the Royal Albert Hall has been a dream, and then to be singing about, acceptance and love and to a community that just know all too well the pain and also the success and the celebration of it all was just magic, and it's like, sometimes like that's where I'm pinching myself, like, did that actually happen though? Like,
is it a dream?
Is it a dream? Because like, I'm fairly certain I'm just going to wake up, be in my human resources job, and be like, oh, it was a dream. But yeah, I mean, it felt great to be up there and to be singing, music like that, and with such strong, powerful messages to a community that understand. And long may it continue. I hope to be that beacon of hope for people. And, as long as I'm writing albums, that's exactly what I intend to do.
Keep writing albums. I remember tweeting you a while back and I was like, it's been a while since I've heard a new song from Calum Scott. I was like, my soul needs another cleanse. And I feel like that's literally what your music does. Like, you just listen to it and whatever is going on in your life, you just forget about that for a minute. And there's just this beautiful voice and there's always such meaning behind the songs. Like, if you ever change your mind, for example, I've been listening to that ever since you released it. Was it one of the first songs from Bridges?
One of the first, yeah, one of the first.
At the time that it came out, I was like kind of talking to someone and then things didn't really go the way I had hoped. And I was like, if you ever change your mind. And then the song came out and I was just like, what the heck? This is wild.
Made for you, Cam, as if it was made for you.
Literally. So good.
And this is the bonkers thing about music is that I sit down in a session and I'm like, I was talking to this person, we were talking for a long time and it was a little bit toxic and then things didn't really end that well. But, every now and again, I'll get a text that'll say, I miss you. And it literally tugs me at the heart.
Yeah.
And then we're in the session like, oh yeah, Karen, and how does that make you feel? Writing the lyrics down. And I'm like, it's like, I just feel like saying to them, like, I don't know if I'd take you back, but when you say things like that to me, I might. And they were like, gold, they're writing it all down. And it's so funny how that's my story and something that I went through. And yet you put it out there and it becomes everybody else's. We write it from that place of wanting to connect with people, but until people tell you like, my God, that's my story, that you just don't know how it's going to go. So I'm glad that that you take from it as well, because it's definitely helped me.
So November 15, you're going to be here literally 4 days after my birthday. I just bought some tickets. I'm so freaking excited for the show. Calum Scott, always a pleasure to catch up and cannot wait to see you in November.
Oh, thank you, Cam. Well, I mean, I put it on for your birthday. That's your birthday treat. So you're welcome. No, listen, genuinely to everybody listening in New Zealand, I've missed you so much. I can't wait to be back in November. If you haven't got tickets yet, you can get them on my website. But I've got a whole new album's worth of material to share with you and enjoy with you. But thank you for all the support and love you've shown me from half the world away. It really means a lot.
Tell me, do I ever cross your mind? Do I ever keep you up?